Well, the Trailblazers dodged the ice in Dallas, but they couldn't dodge the Dallas Mavericks as they fall to the Mavs without Luka and Kyrie Irving, 117 to 111 to wrap up their 5-game road trip. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, joined by producer Brenden Slaughter on the other side of the glass. He's over there. I don't know if he's focused. He has apologized to me multiple times that he might have a strain in his neck that is forcing his head to the right and slightly tilted up to the television in that room that is playing the college football playoff game between Notre Dame and Penn State. And that is fair, where Notre Dame is currently up 17-10, Penn State in the red zone. We have implied oral consent to describe that, right? Simpsons reference for those of you who didn't get it. Now back to basketball. Yeah, that was a rough game for the Trailblazers in the last 4 minutes. They played pretty good for 44. They led most of this game. The biggest lead of the night was 12. And then in the last 4 minutes, that thing just kind of unraveled. Some questionable calls, to say the least. And you'll hear from Coach Billups a little bit later. He was not too happy with this one. And yeah, I mean, what can you do? I think part of it's like, good, the team played well. The other part is like, hey, the tank is still intact. That's what you want. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is that telephone number. Also, go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, get in on the conversation. Where Han in King City, what's up, peeps? It was good for most of the game. Yes, it was. Also, shout out to Han. Han is he has been on the YouTube channel. Not as frequently this year, but he has been on the YouTube channel literally since day one. And he'd be like, look at you guys. You got 200 followers. Look at that. You guys got 500. Soon, before you know it, you'll have 1,000. Peep that subscriber count, Han. We hit the 1K. We hit the 1K. I love it. I love it. Also, my wife's watching. She says, oh, fresh hair. Yeah, she just wants me to give her a shout out. Thank you for the haircut, babe. You took care of me. Now, let's get back to this basketball game. As always, let's start on the Mavericks side of things, the opposing side. P.J. Washington Jr., he had 23 points and 14 boards. Keep in mind, last time they played, he did not play. He was serving that suspension after getting in the scuffle with Yusuf Nurkic. So he came up and was very important for the Mavericks in this one. Najee Marshall, he had 11 points. Derek Lively, I think, Travis and Chad said it, took advantage of the Blazers, when they went small. He had 21 points, 16 rebounds as the Mavs dominated on the glass in this one. Spencer Dinwiddie had 17 points. Klay Thompson, a very quiet 3 points. That might be the fewest points he's ever scored against the Trailblazers. 25 points from Jaden Hardy. What was the number you said? What was Jaden Hardy's average coming into the game, Brenden?
7 points per game.
Okay, the guy who averages 7 points a game goes out and drops 25. Quentin Grimes had 13. Every once in a while, the Blazers just get a guy that kills them. Remember years and years ago, it was Ian Clark. Like, Ian Clark was the Trailblazers killer. Trailblazers killer. Well, apparently, it's either Quentin Grimes or Jaden Hardy or P.J. Washington. Some guy on the Mavericks will be the Trailblazer killer whenever they meet up. Now, the Blazers side of things, it wasn't all bad. Denny Avdia did not have a great game scoring-wise, 9 points. He did have 8 rebounds and 4 assists. He was just 4 of 12 from the floor. Tamani Kamara, 11 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. 6 points from DeAndre Ayton and just 6 rebounds. But it did get nice because let's point out some young guys, right? The young guys were phenomenal. Anthony Simons, he's not one of those young guys, but he did have 22 points. But remember the glasses, right? The glassware they're doing this year? Who are the 3 guys featured on those glasses? Donovan Clegan, Shaedon Sharpe, and Scoot Henderson, right? Because the Blazers know that's the future of this team if things go the way they want it to. Well, those 3 had a pretty good game. Okay, Shaedon Sharpe, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Very solid game from him. Scoot Henderson, a very good game as well. 20 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, and only 2 turnovers. He was 12 of 12 from the free throw line, so you love to see him getting out there and being aggressive and getting to the line. That doesn't happen enough, but it happened in this one. And then Donovan Clegan came back. First time he's played more than 20 minutes since he came back from injury. He played 24 in this one. He had 11 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 block shots. So a very good game from Donovan Clingan. And I feel like he had more than the 2 block shots the box score is saying, because he was really all over the place and definitely impacting the shots the way you needed him to. But again, Blazers didn't win this one. And part of that was, first off, they got destroyed on the boards, 53-43 in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. Both teams were just within 2 assists of each other, so that was pretty even. Turnovers weren't overbearing or anything. But you do look at Dallas getting 53 rebounds, 16 offensive boards. And then again, late, there was just some questionable calls. Tumani Kamara getting a questionable call. Shaden Sharp goes up for a dunk, gets obviously fouled on the forearm, and they don't call it. Like, it's like, what? Okay, then you go to video review, and they're like, the ball was legally blocked, and then there was a loose ball foul. It wasn't legally blocked. It was all forearm. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's weird. And then that turned into an Anthony Simons missed 3. Shea gets the rebound. They call him for a travel, so there's points left on the board right there. And at that point, it was like a 112-109 game, so it was close. And it mattered there late. So, it just fell apart. It was a weird situation there late. I was getting texts from my boss at the OSAA, like, how'd they get the refs on their side? I'm just cracking up. Like, I thought I was in trouble when the boss is texting me at 7 o'clock. No, he just wants to talk Blazers. So that's kind of funny. But no, it fell apart late. The Blazers did. They played very, very well for 44 minutes. And then I think it was apparent that the second night of the back-to-back, they were tired. They were tired, and they got to them because even though they had a little bit of rest, at least starters against the Pelicans, they got to them here late. Let's head over to YouTube right here. Kirk says, Scoot Henderson, please trade the poor kid. Why? Dude had an incredible game. Why you want to get rid of him now? That one makes no sense to me. 20 years old, and his birthday's coming up. We're talking a guy who's in year 2, who's basically now barely got a full season under his belt, like 90 games or something like that. You ain't trading that guy yet. You don't need to. The jury's still out on him. Let's see. Han says, I think every team will have some random guy kill them. That is the way of the NBA. It's just fun to point it out. Remember when Mike Muscala had his career high? Remember that last year at Terry Stotts where there was like a stretch where every single time they played a team, some guy had their career high in points against the Blazers? That was a weird time. That was a weird time. Travis says Lively went wild. Yeah, he did. He took advantage of the situation. 0 free throws the first 16 minutes and 0 free throws the final 9 minutes. We already had the deal with Billups. Why do the refs have to stick it to us like that? That's what Oregon movie guy says. Yeah, that last 4 minutes especially, I thought was really weird. Like I said, that the dunk that I just described was weird. I don't know how you can review that play and see it in slow motion and say the ball was legally blocked. I mean, he hit him on the forearm, and Lamar was very adamant about that on the broadcast. Travis was very adamant about it from watching the replays on the radio broadcast. I wasn't broadcasting live, but I was adamant about it as I watched the replay. So I thought that one was weird for sure. This might be one of those games that's real interesting when the old 2-minute report comes out. That is for sure. And it's Han is talking about Elijah says the Blazers don't need Chauncey. Han says they do need him if they want a high draft pick. See, chestnut checkers, right? And then Kirk says, I never want to hear Scoot needs to earn his minutes again. This organization picking Chauncey over Scoot. That's a take too. I mean, it's a weird situation. I wish he were playing more, but I do like the fact that he came out today and he had a hell of a game, man. 20 points, 4 assists. The turnover numbers were down, and I love the aggression. They're 12 of 12 at the free throw line. The tough part is, now the next night he's going to go out there and he's going to get like 19 minutes because they're going to go play Anthony 40. I mean, they played Anthony 37 minutes tonight. Like, that's crazy. That's something that a lot of the reporters have been pointing out. Like, these guys with these nights where these guys are playing 40 minutes a night. Like, why are you playing almost 40 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back when you got a guard right there who could probably hit 30 and, spell Anthony Simons just a little bit more? That's where the whole part is, like, is this about development or not? That is the rough part. As for Chauncey, I think everyone can just pump the brakes on it. Like, it's gonna happen. His contract is up. There's no indication that thing's getting renewed. And waiting until the offseason, like, heck, if you're looking at tanking, he's doing a pretty good job there. And you absolutely do want to hit the coaching portal. It's not really a portal. It's just I feel like that's what I'm going to use because college football in the off season when you have every single possible candidate at your disposal. That's probably best. And I mean, I don't know. It is a weird situation. I just ride this wave, my friends. I think it'll be okay. Jackson chimes in now. On the bright side, all 3 losses on the road trip were competitive right to the end. We shot the ball much better lately. Collapses like these will happen less as these guys mature. I do think that's true. And I think one thing, Jackson, that is good about the Pelicans game and was good about this game is they came out good right out of the jump, right? That game against the Pelicans, it was incredibly hot out of the beginning, and that's what allowed them to keep that lead late. And then this game was another one where they came out, they played well to start the game, and then they obviously just got tired late, man. Just 22 points in the fourth quarter. And there was a couple times there you could tell, like you could see the fatigue on their face. Like Ant was sucking wind for a second, and he's in pretty good shape. Right. But the second night of the back-to-back hurts. Also, I mean, it's a late, this is not an excuse. It's for both teams, obviously. But I mean, the late switch, getting that game an hour earlier with that late notice. I mean, that happened in the afternoon. I think Chad called me and said that happened. I think I got the call around maybe 11 o'clock, 12,
Yeah, I think he might have
10:30.
been later in the line.
Yeah.
I think Chad called me about 10. So yeah,
Okay.
it was.
But still,
yeah,
I mean,
no doubt that throws you
that's
out of rhythm
noon
for
there.
sure.
That's noon there, and you're moving it up an hour. And
Right.
those guys got to go through their routines and all that. And again, the second night of the back-to-back, which also technically, I have to look into that, may have broken an NBA rule. I thought there was an NBA rule that games could not tip off less than 24 hours apart.
Oh, interesting. That's a good question. I wouldn't know.
And this one technically tipped off, what, 4:30? So
Yeah, that was definitely within
23
that window.
23 and a half hours apart. But no, it was a good game, all things considered. And I do like the fact, even though you lost, I know people don't like that. Some people do. Some people like the tank. I'm not going to tell you what to like and not like tonight. Some nights I will. I'm not going to do that tonight. But the fact that I thought Donovan Kling and Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson had good games, I like that. I like that a lot. And this was a good Denny Avdia game or a good DeAndre Ayton game, especially down there late, away from possibly a Blazer victory. But you got to remember, I mean, Dallas, even without Luka and Kyrie, they still got some guys on that team. They got some dudes. PJ Washington's good. Spencer Dinwiddie's good. And apparently Quentin Grimes and Jaden Hardy and Derek Lively are also really good as they killed the Blazers tonight. And the Blazers take the loss 117-111. We're going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. If you're on hold, like I see Tall Tim is, I will get to you in just a sec, Tall Tim. As soon as we come back, you're the first guy on the line. Anyone else, just hold on there patiently. And, of course, go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio 620, where Kirk, Han, Elijah, and Travi and Oregon Movie Guy, everyone's holding down the chat, man. It's wonderful. I love when I get to host a show and you guys are just giving me all the content to talk about, and I love having a good back and forth with you guys. It's absolutely phenomenal. Chris Burkhardt and Brenden Slaughter here with you. This is the fifth quarter presented by Coors Light on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
It's time for the fifth quarter drive of the night on your home of the Portland Trailblazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
All leaving at 40 as Sharp takes it across the timeline. He attacks into the lane, drives, fouled, and count it. Shaedon Sharp with the strong take.
It's time for the fifth quarter shot of the night on your home of the Portland Trailblazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Denny at center court. Screen comes. Finds Simons back up top. 13 to shoot. Deep three again. Buries it again. Anthony Simons heating up here in the third quarter with a couple of deep threes. He's got 14 to lead the Blazers. 66-57.
Holy smokes, guys. We're playing highlights. And then Notre Dame just put together the drive of the night. 54-yard touchdown to Jaden Greathouse. Look at this replay right now, Brenden. Wide open on the right side. And watch this little hezzy move. Whoop! Breaks the ankles, dude.
Nasty.
What a move.
That's nasty.
That
took his man card right there.
That was filthy. That was insane. There are broken ankles in this championship game. I hope they got a good medical staff. All right, if you want to join the conversation, youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, get in on the YouTube chat. And then Kirk says, Chris, I want to puke. Oregon would beat both these teams by 10. Well, they did beat one of them. I do think they'd probably beat Notre Dame, but gosh, that touchdown was filthy. But go to youtube.com, get in on the chat there. You can also go grab your phone. 503-248-0620 is the telephone number where I bring in my man Tall Tim, who's been waiting very, very patiently. Sorry for the long wait there, Tim, but welcome in.
No problem. I called a little early just to remember to call. It's been a while.
Well, I appreciate it.
You guys are like 5 seconds ahead of the game I'm watching on ESPN. That's very interesting.
Oh, sorry.
No problem, because I, have a passing interest in the game. But I agree. Oregon got probably the toughest draw in the tournament. I think once those young fellers for Ohio State get going, they got some.
They are.
Got some big
they're
guys.
Nasty.
Yeah.
They're nasty.
Oh man! All right, so I haven't called for a while, so I kind of want to give an overview of the progress, but I have to comment on this game. I think the Blazers put themselves in a position to lose at the end, and I'm not quite sure what the scheme was, but they kept getting Lively isolated on a guard, and it just didn't work. I mean, Sharp, I think, made one three-pointer, and then whenever they drive, the guy's fast. You just follow him in and block a shot. I mean, I don't know what they were doing, but they weren't passing the ball. They weren't getting anybody moving. It just kind of stopped to this one-on-one thing against Lively. And that guy had a great game. And then because they did was Aiden hurt or something? Why did they put him back in the game? Because they just got killed on the offensive glass at the end there. I mean, they did get a few stops, but then, they had guys just come in and put the ball in. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing at the end. And then, some of those calls, especially the replay, the reason they took so long is Mark Cuban's calling in and saying, "Hey, I'm going to put some money into your pension fund."
Right.
Or something, because it was come on. You just look at the guy slapped him across the wrist. And
that Shea one really blows my mind.
They call fouls on the guy hitting the guy on the wrist after the ball's left his hand, right?
All the time. And
it's I've never understood that, because if the ball's left his hand, how can that possibly affect the shot? Is there some sort of weird physics we don't understand?
Hey, Tim, you're preaching over here, man, because I hate that call too. The ball's gone, and they act come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, how does that? I mean, we get this follow through, but the ball's out of his hand. It's already.
Don't they also argue, and that's probably why the
never have understood that.
Yeah, don't they also argue too, and that's probably why that Sharp foul was called the ball's part of the hand. They say that sometimes. Well, then why is it a foul if I hit his hand after he shoots it?
Yeah, but he got wrist and. It wasn't his hand, right? Yeah, anyway. So, I think, but I do like the fact that kept the lead the whole game, right? They didn't let them anytime they made a run, they came back. They switched a few people up, and they kept the lead. I mean, that's not easy to do in a game, even though, you say, they didn't have their big stars. But, like you said, Dallas, they got dudes. They're much more experienced as a team overall, the schemes and all that stuff. So I think going 2 and 3, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's good. And I'm seeing Chauncey's kind of tighten up the lineup a little bit. Pretty much 8 guys, maybe 9 guys, depending on who can play, and then maybe resting, a few people here and there. But I think Ayton's more engaged now. Sharp has really stepped up, and you can just see now what he can do. Simons finally is, I don't know, he's probably worried a lot about, just like, where am I going to get moved or whatever. So that's not that easy to play, but he's back. And Kamara now, he's always been good, but I think now he's starting to really find his places to work. Denny's integrated more into the team, and I like the fact that Murray stepped up. He's kind of been that guy off the bench now, the big guy you need to do something, make an impact on the game. Scoot's still a little up and down, but overall, he's much better, more under control this year than he was. And, again, as the point guard, you can make a lot of decisions quick. And sometimes he anticipates stuff that isn't there. But when he makes a great pass, you're like, not that many guys can get in there and thread the needle and make that pass. So I think I see a lot of improvement in the last, 10 games or so.
Yeah, I would agree with just about everything there, Tim. Tamani's been great. Scoot's been great. I don't know. Yeah, Ayton wasn't hurt. I know Klingon was getting some of the crunch time minutes there tonight. But, the young guys are looking good. And so you take the L, but you also take that little bit of a victory if you can.
Yeah, and I think Klingon, this game for Klingon really showed, once he gets really understand the game and get just a little bit more physical, more conditioning, how much he can impact the game. I've seen 3 or 4 or 5 games where he looked just a little, out of sync or gassed a little bit, but this game he was very engaged. So that's really encouraging. Yeah. And I don't know it kind of looks maybe like they're working on a deal for Grant, because it seems like he's not part of the team right now, but I don't know. Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't heard anything there. I would assume that he's probably gone by the deadline. This whole facial contusion thing is really raising question marks for me. I'm not trying to question a guy's toughness or anything. All I'm saying is contusion is a fancy word for bruise, right? And he's coming out with a bruise is sidelining him. But Joel Embiid has been playing with a facial fracture, just putting a mask on. So I don't understand why someone can't play with a bruise.
Yeah, I think they really want to just see, obviously he's an impactful player, right? He's got his own style. He's got his own methods. So I think they really just want to see what they got about him, right, as well.
Absolutely.
Which is, addition by subtraction kind of a thing, which is cool. I mean, he's probably cool with it because I'm sure they've talked to him about what the deal is,
Oh, yeah, and, he's a vet. He's a vet. He knows what's going on. So
and he's got some money that could maybe line up with making a deal for Butler. I'm not saying that Portland's going to. But they could, if you need to have some money involved in that, maybe they're just waiting on how that goes, right?
And then
they get into that deal somehow.
Portland might have been erased from Pat Riley's phone. You might not want to call Portland. They're still a little sour on Joe Cronin right now.
Yeah, but he might need that salary to, swing a 2 or 3 team deal or something. So you never know.
That's why you don't burn bridges. You never know who you're going to need. Anyway, I appreciate the call, Tim. I appreciate the call.
Talk to you later, buddy.
Yeah. Until next time, my friend. But hey, I'll tell you this, Tim. The YouTube chat was agreeing with you. Elijah says you were spitting facts. All good stuff. All right, let's head out to Northeast where Jake has been waiting patiently. Jake, welcome into the 5th quarter.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. That was a good loss. It helps us in the SAG for flag or Dylan Harper sweepstakes. And it was, it's exactly what you want from a rebuilding team. A nice, close, competitive game. Still got the law. I wanted to win this one though. First off, great game by Scoot. That was awesome. I'd love to see Shaden taking over a little bit. I really think the refs affected the outcome a little bit. I think we still should have won. Like, we really collapsed, but the refs were letting Lively just do whatever he wanted. Every single play, he was just mugging us. And then they were calling the exact same contact on the other end. It was frustrating. We still should have won the game. You can't let the refs decide the outcome. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. This has been a legacy in Portland for a long time. We never have coaches that get mad. But you got to get angry sometimes. Like, that's a game that Chauncey should have been thrown out of.
Yes. I know. You know what?
Should.
That point is it's a good point. It's a good point, Jake. Because, like, dude, like, so many times, like, how many times do you see coaches who just go out there and, like, they know they're gonna get hosed, but they just get the tech because, you know what? Like, I'm dying on this hill that was atrocious, right? And I gotta let you know how awful that was, and I gotta get my money's worth in doing it. I'm not going to wait for the press conference to tell you that was a crap call. I'm going to get my expletives out now. Guess
right.
You know what? And when I'm not telling it to the media, they ain't going to find me for it. But sometimes you just need to know. And so I'm with you there, man, because I think like that, like the Shaden Sharp call that we've talked about already, like that's a call that, like, I think watch how Steve Kerr acts with the refs, right? How many times have you seen him, who's usually a mild-mannered guy, get absolutely livid at a bad call? I have not seen – I've seen Chauncey Billups mad, but I haven't seen him livid.
No, and that's the thing. If you're normally mild-mannered and then you lose it at a really bad call, they're more likely to listen to you if you have legitimate beef,
Right.
And the refs feel that stuff, man, like just like at a home game when the whole crowd erupts in unison, all 18,000 people screaming at how bad a call was. The refs feel that. They're pretty quick to blow a whistle on the other end. In their mind, they're thinking, oh, crap, we screwed that one up.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. Go Blazers. Go Cooper Flag. Have a good one.
Yeah, man. You too, Jake. I appreciate the call. Also, he said SAG for flag, go Cooper Flag, capture the flag, whatever anyone wants to call it. If you haven't been watching, y'all need to go watch some Duke basketball because Cooper Flags looked really, really good. He's starting to live up to the hype, man. He is absolutely starting to live up to the hype. Kirk says, is he listening to Michael McDonald? I have no idea. I couldn't. Here's the deal. I don't know if Brenden could, but I could not pick a Michael McDonald song out of it. You could play it for me, and I would not know it. Right now, I could not tell you a single Michael McDonald song.
I mean, I feel like I could a little bit more. I mean, not like I'm a huge Michael McDonald listener, but I know his classics.
Yeah. Chris also says, when Tall Tim calls, I picture him laying on his couch with a white Russian like Lebowski, mellow-voiced dude. Yes, he is. Like, is he sitting there white Russian like Lebowski, or is he the cowboy there? Is he right next to him? Like
that's just like
is he Portland?
Man.
Yeah, is he Portland's finest, Sam Elliott? Hey,
a great
like
reference.
I could see Tall Tim, like if I'm sitting there and I'm cursing there, and he's like, I like what you're saying, but could you not use so many curse words? First, also, God, what a good movie! What a good movie! That's one of those movies. Like if I grab like you know how you had the movies growing up, not so much anymore because there's no such thing as channel surfing. But it's like if I were channel surfing and Terminator 2 or The Fifth Element were on, yeah, I was stopping on that channel, right? Now, a lot of the time, I'm looking for something to watch for background noise. I'm like, pop on a Netflix. Oh, and if Lebowski pops up, yeah, I'm hitting play. That's a good movie. What a good movie. Chris wants to be on Tall Tim's bowling team. Yeah. Market zero. You were over the line. You are about to enter a world of pain, Chris. You are about to enter a world of pain. This is not nom. This is league bowling. There's rules. There's rules. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, we're going to head to the coach's corner, hear what Chauncey Billups had to say. And you guys, he was kind of in line with what everyone else was saying. He didn't like the refs either. We're also going to hand out a game ball. I'll find someone to hand that out to. Kirk says he's more of a kingpin guy. I watched that just the other day. Mr. Munson. like that is a good one too. That is an absolute good one. Oh man, you know what? In the year of our Lord 2025, someone needs to give us another good bowling movie. Darn it, get us a good bowling movie. Not enough of them. However, there's like no bowling alleys left to go film in. They've all turned into apartment complexes. It's absolutely terrible. All right, don't go anywhere. Plenty more of the fifth quarter coming up. Then I'll put a bow on it, as my wife likes me to say. She's ready for me to come home. She misses me. She's so cute. Chris Burkhardt here with Brenden Slaughter. This is the fifth quarter presented by Coors Light on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
For the latest on tonight's game, we head to the Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups.
I thought we had some opportunities at the basket, didn't get the call. They did. That was very unfortunate. Kind of second game where on this trip I'm just confused a lot of times on the things that they call and don't call. So that's a little frustrating, to be honest with you. It's very frustrating. But, I feel sorry for the guys. I mean, we had a lot of guys play well in the game, just couldn't get over the hump.
You mentioned it was frustrating. Tumani, who usually isn't very vocal, you can definitely see his frustration down the stretch. Do you think that's because of all the effort he was putting into it and just not seeing the results in terms of getting calls?
Yeah, I mean, Tumani lays his heart on the line every single night out there. He felt like dude hit him with a cheap shot, whether it was cheap or not, he just thought he got fouled, to be honest. And, we took a peek at it and thought, well, why would they turn this over? You learn something new with these rules every night, which is weird. But, Tua is he's never really demonstrative like that. But when he is, that there's something behind it.
What did you think of Pat Donovan's team?
I thought DC played great. I really did, man. His minutes were good. He gets 11 and 11, kind of manned the paint for us. Had some big finishes around the basket. He played really tough. Man, it was good to see him back to DC again. So that was extremely positive.
So how do you come away from this trip, Coach? How do you kind of feel at the end of this?
I thought we played well. I thought we had a good trip. We liked tonight. Had a couple games that we could have won and didn't. But this is a part of, just kind of being young and learning. Learning how to play down the stretch of games. What's important, how to take care of the ball, how to get the right shots, getting the ball in the right guy's hands. We can preach it until they're blue in the face, but until you actually are in the hit, in the moment, is when you actually learn it. So I think we're playing well. I thought we did a really good job. It's unfortunate. I felt the same way after the Detroit game. Games that we had won, and just couldn't come up with it at the end.
And there you hear Coach Billups following the game. And, he wasn't too happy with the officials either. And let's head back out to the phone lines before we hand out a game ball. We're going to Keith and Hood Rivers there. Keith, hold tight. I'm going to save you for last, okay? The best for last. We're going to go to Buffalo first, then we're going to go to Hood River, okay? Go away and then work our way back. Plus, Keith's my buddy, and I know that he'll stay there waiting patiently. At least he's not driving home from a home game, so I don't have to worry about him going through a tunnel. He's just sitting on his couch enjoying the evening. But let's head out to Buffalo, where we haven't heard from Joe in forever. Joe, how you doing?
Best for last. That deflating was that was just meant to deflate me before my homecoming call. And you act as if I don't wait for you. I've waited for you like
Joe. It had less to do with you and more about me lying to my friend Keith about being the best for last, and he knows it. That had less to do with you and everything to do with that loser.
Well, I appreciate it. I know sometimes to be a good friend, you gotta lie. So
yeah, of course.
Well, so I'll get right to it. I apologize for calling late. I had a gig tonight, so I didn't realize how early the game was. So I caught up on the highlights. And what I'm getting at, so Grant being out, everyone's kind of talking about trading him and stuff like that. I didn't like him. Now, we all know I just came aboard Rip City last year. I'm still kind of in that prospect stage. I'm still learning everything. I didn't like Grant when I first jumped on board. Then Chad was the one who told me he's kind of like the leader, kind of gets guys going. He's charmer, stuff like that. I think that with him being out, we're really missing that kind of, I don't know, that leadership or that drive, that maybe not rah-rah mentality, but something to keep the guys going for that second effort. What I noticed on defense, especially in the second half of the highlights, there was no second effort for rebounds. There was no second effort for coverage. Really, the only two guys doing it were Kamara and Via, or how do you say his name?
Denny Avdia.
Thank you. that guy can play anywhere. Like 3, 4, 5, he can play anywhere in the front court, I believe it's called. Mm-hmm. And like that guy, honestly, I think he could be center if you want him to. That guy's motor is insane. But our team's so young, we need that like kind of like driving force. Who do you think? Is there anyone on the roster now that you think could do that for us?
Well, I'll tell you this much: if you talk to Chad, and Chad said that Grant's that vocal leader and this and that, I fully disagree with Chad. I don't think that's Grant's role. Grant is very passive. Grant is get out on the court, do his thing, and I guess lead by example by going out there and playing. I think right now the most vocal on the floor is Denny Avdia. And when healthy, he's more vocal when he's healthy. I think the locker room leader, quite frankly, and a guy that can get everyone focused and in line is Robert Williams. Absolutely, I do. I think one tough part about Rob is that he doesn't do too much vocally when he's not playing, right? Like he's like, okay, I'm going to walk the walk and talk the talk, not just talk the talk. But he is a guy that even if you go back and talk to the guys in Boston, like his teammates love him because he is that leader type that gets everyone focused. And I think he does that in Portland quite well.
That is such a good pick. And the only reason why I didn't think of that is because he is hurt. And you're right. When he's hurt, he's nowhere to be found. So, and some guys are like that, but that is a good pick. Now let me rephrase maybe what Chad was saying, because this was last year. And I don't know if he maybe like, the rah-rah guy was kind of the wrong one. He just said he was like the charming leader. The guys love him in the locker room kind of thing. So,
I would agree with that. Agree with that.
Okay. That's what Chad was getting at more of. So I don't want to – Chad's like one of my radio heroes, man. I don't want him to be – I hope he wasn't listening and just be like, what the heck? Joe, come on, man. Like, take you under my wing and you just dog me. Like, this is why you don't get the last call, Joe. Not anymore. Not anymore. But no, that's a great point. Is Williams there now? And then to you guys were talking movies earlier. I can't get through Kingpin, man, but I just saw Lebowski for the first time when our internet went out. I found the DVD just laying in a pile of DVDs in our collection, and I was like, "What is this movie?" Mom was like, "You've never seen that?" I was like, "No, I just kind of avoided it." She made me watch it. She sat down and watched it with me. It was one of the best movies I've ever seen. Just the Ash scene alone, when John Goodman, when he slowly turns around to realize he covered his friend in his friend's ashes, that part got me every time, man. So I got to go with Lebowski over Kingpin. But we do need more bowling alley movies. And until then, I would recommend checking out It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia's latest season. They did a bowling episode. Check that out. I don't know why I'm starting to plug shows and movies now. I apologize. I will get off the air. I miss you guys. It's good to be back, Rip City, and let's take this as a moral victory, I guess, tonight. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for the call, Joe. And you're right, dude. Like the Lebowski is just full of just so many great, like, just great scenes. I'll tell you this much: if I am driving down the freeway, this is no joke. Usually, when I'm in the car by myself going to work, if Looking Out My Back Door by CCR pops on my playlist, I hit the roof of my car, like just like in Lebowski. Like you absolutely have to, like oh my gosh, and then like John Goodman, like oh my gosh, it's so good. It is so good. Hey. What is it? Don't disrespect the Jesus. like, oh my gosh, Lebowski's great. Kingpin, you said you can't get through it. Kingpin is Kingpin, like you gotta be in the mood for Kingpin, but it's good. If there's one knock on Kingpin, it's just not enough Bill Murray. His character is so good. Like, I love the bowling scenes at the end when the wig's falling off, like the comb over, and it's like off to the side, and it's just like, oh my god, it's good. Like that movie has its like lulls in the story, but that whole end part with Murray, oh my gosh, that's good. That is so good. Matt Peralta asks, Chris, who do you think think is the cornerstone of this team? Where the Blazers over the next 2 years? Personally, I think if I'm looking at guys on this team that I'm building around right now, I think it's Denny, Tumani, and Shaden Sharp, and then I would put Klingon and Scoot in that next tier. They got work to do to prove that they're part of the main core, right? And that's fair. They're both young. Like, I know we want Scoot to be great, but keep in mind he is a second-year guard. We talked about this last game too. I mean, like, because a listener on social brought up how he's had bad games. It's like, well, CJ McCollum had really bad games his second year too, coming off the bench. And Mike Richmond of Locked On podcast brought it up too. They're like, right now, Scoot is actually playing like a really, really good backup guard. He's not playing like a star or a starter that we want him to be, but he's a backup guard and he's playing like a good backup guard. And that's fine. The expectations of being the third overall pick hurt him a little bit, right? But if he can continue to get better and work on that, he'll be just fine. But if you're asking me who you building around, who's your cornerstones, Denny, Shea, Tumani, and I think the guy is Shea. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to make a good point, and Brenden gets in my ear. Notre Dame wins the Orange Bowl.
Well, that wasn't exactly what I said.
Notre Dame wins the Orange Bowl. Last-second field goal gets it done. It was 10 seconds left. Penn State had a chance. Drew Aller threw a pick, gave Notre Dame the ball back. Notre Dame
and the Natty. Wow.
Notre Dame and their storied history and their 14 or whatever national championships it was that they're clinging to, even though they haven't won one since I was 2 years old in 1988. Ay.
Yeah, ay is right, brother.
Yeah, so, that's where I'm at, Matt. Kirk also says, Chad and Chris are the leaders of men. Great dudes. Well, thank you. Joe chimes back in. Really love Jabari Walker. What the F is happening to my man? He's good. He's a hustler. He still, his floor's low and his ceiling's low too. I mean, you just got to be honest. He brings it on the defensive side, makes plays because he hustles. There's a lot to be desired though from him. Also, Elijah, no matter how many times you type it in, Kirk's not calling in. He doesn't have to. He keeps it going in the chat. Respect my man. Respect them. All right. Let's head out to Hood River, where he's not a loser. He's my friend. He just knows I like to pick on him. Because you know what? If the roles were reversed and he were hosting and I was calling, he would totally fry me every chance he got. It's Keith Feltner-Smith of the Trailcasters and the podcast that it records once per year because he doesn't like to record with me anymore. I don't know what it is, but he called in.
Once
Keith,
per year.
Keith, how you doing?
Once per year. Good, man. Good. I feel like even once per year is generous at this point. We got to step that back up. We got to pick up our pace a little bit here. And, hey, saving best for last. Only truth, man. Only truth. No disrespect to anybody. But I love that you throw that out there and then firmly put the foot in the mouth for the first guy calling in. I love that he brought that up immediately. That was great. Hey, listen, I was going to call in, and you said something early on about Chauncey. It's okay if he sticks around for the whole season. I was going to call in and just wanted to chew your ear off about, like, losing culture and what is this doing for the development of our young guys like Scoot and all this. But then you also mentioned Scoot just had that game, man. Scoot had, 20 points. He's like 42% from the field, 50% from deep, 100% from the line. The refs basically changed how they were officiating because of the foul that Scoot was getting. He was warping the game like people used to complain about Harden doing. It's what we wanted to, like, this is what you see him doing in the future. This is what, we don't need him shooting threes. He's going to change the look of an offensive point guard because we don't need him scoring. He's be assisting and setting up the rest of the team. And that was a beautiful game tonight. I loved it. There was so many intangibles that he was doing, boxing out, getting some other plays going that weren't, some hockey assists that aren't going to show up in the box score. Man, I am stoked on that. And, I'm always down to rag on Chauncey, but you turned up the Scoot dial on that one, and I'm happy about it.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that gets me with Scoot, and it's something that you and I have talked about in text when we're dealing with the people who like to troll us on social or have their takes about it on social. It's like when Scoot has a bad game, everyone who is expecting him to just fizzle out and be a bust points it out like crazy, right? But then when he bounces back and has a good game, they're really, really quiet about praising him for having a good game, right?
Yeah, so we just got to be loud about this.
And that's the frustrating part. And I really do think, go through the season that has been this year. He's had some average games, some good games, and some bad games. But the average and good games have outweighed most of the bad games to me. Has he had bad games? Absolutely. No one is trying to pretend as if this guy's been great this whole time. But a night like tonight where he goes out and has 20 points, he doesn't turn over the ball a ton. I mean, he had, 2 of them, which is totally acceptable. but he gets the four assists. He plays within control. He still makes mistakes, but again, you're the one who always likes to point out the dude's basically finally played an entire season of basketball when he had how many games he's actually played. So again, if we're going to knock the guy every time he's bad, you got to talk about the good stuff too. And today was the good stuff. And 91 is the number. He's played 91 games in his career now.
91 games total played, still only has started 35. And so we're talking about, thinking about how many people always say, oh, he's not doing well for a third pick. How many third picks have started 35 games when they're more than a season into their career?
I have to research it. I don't know.
I don't feel like a lot of let's just say I don't feel like a lot of third picks have only started a third of their total games played by this point in their career. That aside, though, like you said, great game for him tonight, and I just want to be loud about that. I want to talk about how awesome it was for Scoot. It was a great play for him. First time we've had all three of our backcourt, Scoot, Simons, and Shaden, all scoring 20 plus. I'm not here to pump the three-guard lineup by any means. I'm certainly not trying to say that Simons needs to stick around in Portland. I love the guy and I hope the best for him, but that was a good milestone. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, and just real quick, I brought it up just because I know he's a third overall pick, but like Jaylen Brown, right? And Jaylen Brown is one of the best players in the league right now. His second year, he's 21 years old, which is older than Scoot is right now. He played 70 games, started all 70 of them, and it wasn't as if he was lighting the doors on fire, dude. He was averaging 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.6 assists. Like he was good. You could see that it was there, but you're right. He was a third overall pick who got the nod. So, again, I like the good with Scoot. I understand there's bad, but I'm not sold that this guy's a complete bust just yet. Not even close.
Yeah, it's not as bad as many of the Foghorn Leghorns want it to be, but that's the game, that's the nature of fans and all that.
I said I like Scoot. That's right.
One of these days, we're gonna have another podcast recording at some point, man. I can't wait. We will dive deep into all this.
All right. The only question left to ask you, since we sparked it in the debate here, are you Team Kingpin or Team Lebowski?
Oh, absolutely, Team Lebowski. Kingpin's fantastic, but Lebowski, like you said, there are times where I'm in the car and you just got to slap the roof, the roof of the car a little bit. And there's too many times that you just can't resist quoting that movie. It's all day. Team Lebowski.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
Have a great night.
Appreciate you. Everything I said mean about you was a lie. I just have to. I just have to. I have to razz you a little bit. Like I said, there is 100% chance you would do the same to me, roles reversed. In fact, it's 1,000%. Happened on the Trailcaster podcast, which I promise you we're going to record soon because I'm just going to force you to do it.
It has happened, and it will again.
All right, man. Talk to you later. By the way, too, I want to point out Elijah keeps asking Kirk to call in because he wants to know why he wants to trade Scoot. And I called him out. I called you out too, Kirk. I'm like, why? He's been good. And then I got your sarcasm there. It's basically what Kirk is saying is like, might as well trade the guy to a place that's actually going to use him properly and develop him. If you're not going to do it right, it's more tongue in cheek when he says trade him. I get what you're laying down, Kirk. Now he's going to go in the chat and be like, actually, Burkhardt, you're completely wrong. All right, now let's I said Keith was going to be last. Too many K names in here. My goodness. But we're going to go to Matt, and this is a first-time call. He typed in the chat. Can I call? Of course you can. Here's the number. So, Matt, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Hi there. I was just calling to see why Scoot only played 40 seconds when Chauncey Billups took him right back out.
What was that? Late in the game situations?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think in that situation, you always got to figure out what you're going for, and do you need your defensive stop? Do you need an offensive shot? And Scoot's not bringing you a ton of defensive stops, not bringing you a ton of offensive shots, right? So you just got to put the situation out there that works best. Quite honestly, I have to go back and find the exact spot where he was subbed out that you're referencing to see exactly what the situation was because I don't recall. But we have seen it happen before. Not with Chauncey and Scoot, but we saw it with Coach Nate, right? Like there was a situation where he subbed out 2 with 40 seconds left in one of those 2 games he coached. And a lot of people are like, why did he sub him out? And it's like, well, he subbed in Grant because they really, really needed a shot. So they went to their offensive guy and then instantly subbed him back in. But so I just have to look at the exact play to get you the perfect right answer. I apologize for not having it at the top of my head.
I noticed that too. He doesn't like play the right players at the exact moment that we need him to.
Yeah, no. I will give you that. I have struggled at certain times wondering why guys are in and why they're not in. And some coaches just get stubborn, and it's not just a Chauncey thing. It's easy to say it's him because he's here, but even Terry Stotts would do that sometimes, where he was just so set on his rotations that he would sub someone out who was hot because nope, it's the 6-minute mark, and this guy always subs out at the 6-minute mark, and it's like, why are you taking? He's hot. Who cares if it's the normal rotations? And some coaches just get stubborn with that and kind of outthink the room a little bit.
You tell him, Kurt's right. You tell him, Kurt's right here.
Kirk's right there?
Okay.
Matt and Kirk are in the same room?
Yes. Kirk runs adult foster care, believe it or not. He is the operator.
No way.
Yes.
Well, come on, Kirk, get on the phone, my man.
Kurt, he's talking to you. Yes, this is the famous Kirk.
That is the famous Kirk. That sounds nothing like Brian McKnight and Michael Bublé. What a lie. What an absolute lie. See, Elijah was onto something. You should have called in. This is gold. This is gold. You've made my night.
Your life is a dream come true.
Hey, 2, I just don't want to listen to you anymore. 3, because it's plain to see that you just need to keep sticking in the background there, Kirk, okay?
All right, well, go Blazers, and it was a good loss, but not a good loss. That's being a Blazer fan. Who knows what we want?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, guys, thank you so much. You guys have a great night, okay?
You too. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was the curveball of all curveballs. Oh, I appreciate that. That was funny. I love when this show can just go off the rails and we can have we can just have some fun. Who knew? Who knew? I told you we'd be done at like 8:10. I lied. We got excited. We had some fun. But you know what? We're also still way earlier than usual, Brenden, so it's great. But we do have one more thing to do before we leave. We haven't given out the game ball. Let's roll it. Look at the box score real quick. It goes out to Matt and Kirk for throwing me a curveball. And in the midst of a loss that throws us off, you guys brought the laughs. That's way too much. I can't even take it. That is hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. I love it. I love it. My chat and my listeners, you guys are great. You guys are great. Kirk, that's funny. Now I'm waiting for Kirk to be like, actually, that wasn't me. That was someone pretending to be Kirk. And I fell for it. I don't even care. That was too good.
That was classic.
You
man.
you guys were great. That is funny, man. That threw me off. I heard 2 people talking for a second. I'm like, what's going on? And that's Kirk. What? That was funny. Well done. But realistically, I'm actually going to give my game ball from the game. Not just the show. I'm going to give my game ball, as weird as it sounds, I'm going to give it to Donovan Clingan in this one. He did. You talk about, DA in there and not getting rebounds. You know who wasn't struggling to get rebounds when they needed him the most? Donovan Clingan. You know who's blocking shots out there? Donovan Clingan. You know who was doing a lot in those 24 minutes? Donovan Clingan. And I love the fact he was out there getting more than, 8 minutes a night. It's almost as if you play him more, he does good things and gets in a groove. So I'm giving him a game ball tonight because you know what? The rookie deserves it. All right, that is going to do it for the 5th quarter tonight. Kirk says Matt forced that on him. Well, I'm glad he did. That was money. And
now we're talking. A little peer pressure never hurt nobody.
He even dropped a, one, you're like a dream come true, man. And it starts back at 1. I was playing that the other day for my wife, not being cheesy, flirty, but we were just laughing at all the love songs that were made in like the late 90s, early 2000s. It was just like Casey and JoJo, right? Brian McKnight. Like there was a time and place in the music world where things were a little crazy. But that is going to do it tonight for the show tonight. We'll be right back at it on Saturday. 7 o'clock tip. So I'll have Blazers game day for you at 5 o'clock. Let me tell you what, I'm actually really excited for this game. As you guys know on YouTube, proud Islander over here, and it is AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Game there at Moda Center. So I'm excited for what they're going to do for the Asian community and the Hawaiian community there. It's going to be awesome. If you're there, come say hi. If not, I'll see you in the chat. And, of course, the fifth quarter all on Saturday. We will talk to you then.